Black Butler. This is a show that follows 14-year-old CL Phantom Hive and his contracted butler, Sebastian Michaelis. He has contracted with this butler to get revenge on those who had wronged him and ended up in the death of his parents. This has to be my favorite series of all time. If you go to anything that I have an account on, you will most likely see a picture of Grell Sutcliffe around there somewhere. And just because this is my favorite series does not mean that it doesn't come with faults. I hated Elizabeth throughout this first series. I thought she was annoying, she was a crybaby, she was very bratty. I hated her. I hated some of the filler episodes because, in all honesty, they drew you away from the actual mystery that was going on in the story. I hated some of the more comedic aspects. As much as it is supposed to kind of lighten up the mood from such a serious plot, to me it's very jarring and very distracting for such a series that follows a Victorian era styled gothic story. I especially had a thing against Queen Victoria and how she is related to the whole incident with Ash, or Angela, and that honestly did get on my nerves. And I especially hate the stupid beak thing that Sebastian does when he smiles. I may be the only one to have noticed the stupid beak thing, or I may not, but when he turns and you see him smile to the side or to himself, and then he opens his mouth ever so slightly, his mouth looks like it's a beak. And it's a small detail that bothers me. I don't know if it bothers everyone else. I personally adore this series for almost everything else. The first episode alone and its dark theme and setting are what drew me in to enjoy this series. I love that CL thinks of him so highly because of everything that happened, that he has to be stern and he has to act like a young adult at 14. And I get it. You are pushed into those situations and it's a sink or swim kind of deal. I love that in a 24 episode span that they go over multiple little arcs from start to finish and give you a resolution. I love that the concept when you die of your life flashing before your eyes was made to be an actual movie reel of what happened in your lifetime to Reapers. So when we see that, that's what they're seeing, but that's how they judge our souls. And to me, that is a brilliant idea. I also adore the depiction of Jack the Ripper for this. Historically, yes, Jack the Ripper was known to have some type of medical knowledge to be able to cut open a woman's anatomy and take out the pieces that they needed, as well as everyone suspected that Jack the Ripper was a doctor or a very knowledgeable person of surgery and everything to go with the murders. Of course, my best girl, Grell Sutcliffe, is in this, and I love that Sebastian, even though with a small hunch knew that something was off, that she could disguise herself so well, he thought she was human. Bombastic. I love that the idea that Reapers have their own moral code, that they cannot interact with humans, and even so she gets punished for it. And I adore that the fact that their death sites aren't actual sites, but that they are gardening tools for harvesting. I really do I love the small details when it comes to the way how Seal has to be portrayed as a young lord, especially in the Victorian era. And I also adore that they kept the fact that no one has seen Sebastian in true form, that it's just a bunch of shadows and those stupid heels. And when it comes to the help, Finian, Mayrin, and Boldroy, I love that they stay true to that Finian is an escaped experiment with superhuman strength, Mayrin is a sniper, and Boldroy is one of knowledge from being in a war. What kind of threw me off is that they made him British, because he's American, and it might be a detail of because it's Victorian England, make everyone British, but whatever. I'll admit the fight with Lau did come out of nowhere. Oh, and then also having Abeline die was kind of a little excessive, but it brings drama. It's okay. One thing I also really enjoy is how Ash at the end comes crawling to Sebastian and revealing that he can go in between forms of female and male, and Sebastian rejects him, going, I'm a demon who has literally fucked a nun and I have standards. It's beautiful. I love how Sebastian rejects Grell, and yet when they have the opportunity, he allows her to hold on to him or physically touch him, and they totally got the fuck me eyes going on and makes a solid ship. I loved the ending so much because of how It resolves everything. It made it seem like a good conclusion. He got his revenge on the bastard that screwed over his family and made him suffer seeing his parents die. And I do like the addition that they actually took Rachel and Vincent's corpses and fused them and horrified him because he's still a child. That is brilliant. I don't like the aspect of Queen Victoria becoming young again or some weird thing about her being fused to Albert. It was weird. It wasn't necessary. It could have just been that he manipulated her into staying close and doing all kinds of things to bring upon the apocalypse or something like that. It could have been completely cut out and we would have been just fine. But I really do adore the ending. The resolution, the fact that Ash, Angela, they're dead, that the queen realizes she fucked up just because she was a sad, depressed woman without her husband. And I just love the portrayal of them going across what looks like the River of Styx, but instead of there being bodies, it's all of his life being laid across. I thought that was beautiful. And I'll admit, when I first saw this, I cried because he got what he wanted. He got the revenge. He got everything he needed to. And I thought that's where it ended. And I did cry when I first see this. I thought, man, this is dark and I enjoy it. And this is beautiful. I highly recommend this series. It is gothic. It's beautifully Victorian. Yana Sensei obviously knows what she's doing. She did a lot of research when it came to creating the characters as well as placing them, their surroundings. I highly enjoy it. And yeah, I really recommend this series. If you like something a little bit more gothic, a little bit dark, sure, go for it. I highly recommend this series. And as I did say, I would go with continuations and OVA, so we'll be covering everything. Of course, I will be covering the next series after this. And I have some words to say about that some people might not agree with me, but that's fine. I will get to it when I get to it.